Since the moment the Chosen One opens their eyes to this world, there is something in their being that resonates with a different frequency, an inner melody that few can hear. They feel the distinction like a flame burning deep in their soul, a flame that, though initially timid, cannot be ignored. The world around them may be immersed in shadows, but within them, a light shines, like a solitary lighthouse on the edge of a stormy sea. They don't understand where this strength comes from, but it guides them with a deep, silent, constant certainty. This inner calling is more than a feeling. It is a truth pulsing in their chest, a compass that always points to a higher purpose. Around them, the distractions of the world accumulate like layers of fog, trying to obscure the clarity of this call. The pressures of society, earthly desires, and external voices try to drown out this unique melody. However, the Chosen One, even in the face of such challenges, feels the urgency to follow this inner light. Like a seed buried beneath the earth, yearning to reach the surface, they understand that the path will not be easy, but it is inevitable. The call persists, growing stronger, and resistance only generates more suffering. Listening to this inner voice is the first of many trials. It requires courage to distance oneself from the common, to walk paths others dare not tread. They realize that the world around them is asleep, distracted by fleeting glimmers and voices that promise immediate but empty satisfaction. The Chosen One, however, knows there is something more. This something pulses within them, calling them to walk a lonely path, where few dare to follow, but which is the only path leading to truth. This journey does not begin with fanfare, but with a whisper. It is the whisper the Chosen One hears in silence, in the space between their thoughts, in the moments of quiet the modern world rarely grants. And upon hearing this whisper, they know without a shadow of a doubt that they were chosen for something greater, something that transcends what their eyes can see or their hands can touch. But to answer the call, the Chosen One must first accept their uniqueness. They must embrace the fact that they were chosen not by chance, but because within them resides a mission the universe entrusted to them. They are neither better nor worse than others, but they are different. And this difference, this light that sets them apart from the darkness around them, is the key to unlocking their destiny. The first step is simple yet the most difficult. They must accept who they are and what they are destined to be. And so begins the journey of the Chosen One. There comes a moment in the journey of the Chosen One when the reality around them begins to crumble. What once seemed solid, certain, and definite now appears as a shadow, an illusion covering something much deeper. This is the moment of awakening, a silent yet overwhelming transformation that opens the Chosen One's eyes to a new world, a new truth. Like in Plato's cave myth, they realize that everything they knew until now was merely reflections, shadows projected on the walls of their limited consciousness. Now they begin to see the true light, a light that reveals the essence of things and the purpose of their existence. The awakening is both a painful and liberating process. It is painful because it demands detachment from comfortable beliefs, from the worldview that sustained their identity. The Chosen One finds themselves forced to question everything they were taught, social norms, standards of success, and even the notion of what is real. But this pain is the herald of freedom. They understand that the awakening is not just a change in perspective but a rupture with the invisible chains that bind most people to superficiality. Just as Buddha experienced when freeing himself from the cycle of illusions, the Chosen One begins to realize that the world around them is only a small part of a much larger truth, a reality that cannot be seen with physical eyes but can be felt with the awakened heart. They begin to tune into the invisible currents of the universe, realizing that there is a greater force guiding their journey. They start to see patterns where there was once only chaos, connections where there was once separation. The awakening is the beginning of a new perception, where the distinction between the inner and outer worlds begins to fade. This moment is sacred. It is the point where the Chosen One understands they are destined for something beyond the mundane, something that transcends the trivial concerns of daily life. They begin to understand that there is a truth that unites all things, a cosmic fabric that intertwines every being, every event, every thought. And in this moment of clarity, they realize that their purpose is not just to discover this truth but to live it and share it. Enlightenment brings with it responsibility. The Chosen One can no longer live in the same way, for what has been seen cannot be unseen. They realize that their mission is not just for themselves but for the good of all. They must be the bridge between the visible and the invisible, between the common and the divine. The awakening is the opening of a door, and once they cross it, there is no return. They now walk with the clarity of someone who knows the way, but also with the humility of someone who knows the path is endless. And so, with this new vision, the Chosen One embarks on the journey in a world that, although it seems the same, is now infinitely deeper, more vast, and more mysterious. They realize that every step they take is part of a cosmic dance, where every movement has meaning and every choice reverberates through time and space. The awakening is not the end but the beginning of a life lived with purpose, a life that seeks not only truth but union with the All. As the Chosen One advances in their journey, they inevitably encounter one of the greatest challenges any seeker faces: the ego. The awakening has brought them a new perception, a new worldview, and with it, the temptation to believe that they, being chosen, are somehow superior to others. This is where the subtle poison of vanity begins to seep in, offering illusory glories that can divert even the purest from their path. The ego is a master in the art of illusion, always seeking to aggrandize itself, always thirsty for recognition and power. The Chosen One, upon becoming aware of their role and uniqueness, can easily be led to believe that this calling places them above those who are still asleep. Vanity whispers that they are special, that their mission makes them better, more elevated. But this is a dangerous mistake. The true power of the Chosen One does not lie in their separation from others but in their ability to serve, to guide with humility, to become a channel for something much greater than themselves. Overcoming the ego is like taming a wild horse. It requires discipline, self-awareness, and above all, humility. The Chosen One must remember that the role they play is not for their own glory but for the good of what they represent. Just as Stoicism teaches self-mastery, the Chosen One must cultivate the virtue of knowing their own limitations, their own flaws, and understand that vanity is a disguised enemy, always ready to divert them from their true purpose. The spiritual journey is filled with invisible traps, and vanity is one of the most dangerous. Jesus, in teaching the importance of humility, said that the last will be the first. The Chosen One must remember that their mission is not to be exalted but to serve with compassion and truth. They must understand that true greatness lies in lowering oneself, in being small in the eyes of the world so that they may be great in the eyes of the Spirit. Each victory over the ego is a step closer to enlightenment, but each fall into vanity is a step toward darkness. This challenge is eternal. Even those who have reached high levels of consciousness can fall into the traps of pride, thinking they have already won this battle. The Chosen One must always be vigilant, always ready to confront the ego in all its forms. They must continually seek to purify their intentions, questioning whether their actions are rooted in the desire to serve or the desire to be seen, admired, revered. Looking at the great masters of history, the Chosen One will find examples of how to overcome the ego. Socrates, known for his wisdom, always claimed to know that he knew nothing, remaining humble before the vastness of knowledge. Buddha, after his enlightenment, did not seek personal glory but dedicated his life to alleviating the suffering of others. And Jesus, the greatest example of humility, washed the feet of his disciples, showing that true power lies in service. Overcoming the ego is not a one-time task but a continuous process. The Chosen One must constantly remember that they are but an instrument, a piece in the great game of existence. They are not the author of the plan but rather an executor of the divine will. And the more they detach from the desire for recognition, the closer they will be to their true essence, the more aligned they will be with the higher purpose that called them. And so, with each challenge overcome, the Chosen One becomes stronger, not in power but in spirit. They learn that true leadership is silent, true greatness is invisible, and true power lies in humility. Vanity can be defeated, but the ego will always return with new faces, new tricks. The mission of the Chosen One is to remain vigilant, with a pure heart and a clear mind, knowing that their true glory is not in this world but in the eternal service to the purpose that chose them. The journey of the Chosen One is, by nature, a crossing between two worlds. On one side, the material world, with its immediate demands, responsibilities, and distractions. On the other, the spiritual world, an invisible realm that calls their soul to a higher purpose, to the awakening of consciousness and connection with the divine. The great challenge is how to walk between these two worlds without getting lost in either. How to balance the needs of the flesh with the longings of the spirit. The Chosen One learns, over time, that the middle way is the secret to this harmony. Just as Buddha taught the middle path, the rejection of the extremes of indulgence and asceticism, the Chosen One must find a way to honor both aspects of existence. They realize that completely denying the material world would be denying part of their human experience, but submerging themselves in it would mean forgetting the call of their soul. Balance, then, is not a compromise between the two but an integration, where both worlds coexist in harmony. The material life, with all its demands, is like a river that flows ceaselessly. The chosen one, even immersed in the daily flow, must keep their eyes fixed on the stars. They must remember that work, responsibilities, relationships, and earthly experiences have their place but should not take control of their soul. The Aristotelian virtue of finding balance between excesses serves as a guide here. Just as the archer must adjust their aim to hit the target, the chosen one must adjust their life to maintain the center, to live fully in the world but not be of the world. However, this balance does not come without effort. Excessive materialism can easily drag the chosen one into the realm of the ego, the pursuit of superficial pleasures, power, and wealth. At the same time, there is the danger of getting lost in spirituality, trying to escape the material world in search of an elevated but impractical ideal. The chosen one understands that they were not called to live isolated from the world but to be a bridge between the divine and the earthly, an awakened soul living among those who still sleep. It is necessary to walk with wisdom. The chosen one does not deny their human needs. They accept and responsibly take care of them. However, they never allow them to define their purpose. They see money as a tool, not an end. They see work as an expression of service, not a prison. They cultivate relationships without emotional dependence, always aware that true peace comes from within. Thus, the chosen one does not cling to anything material, knowing that everything is transient, but they also do not reject what the world has to offer. They use everything at their disposal to serve the greater purpose entrusted to them. There is a constant dance between the visible and the invisible. The chosen one learns to walk between these realms lightly as one walks on water. They understand that matter is a manifestation of spirit and that, in essence, the two worlds are interconnected. They are the point of balance between heaven and earth, between body and soul. Their life becomes a living expression of this balance, where they do not renounce any aspect of their existence but integrate them into a harmonious whole. By following this path, the chosen one serves as an example for others. Their ability to live in the material world without being governed by it inspires those still trapped by the illusions of consumerism and attachment. They show that it is possible to achieve success in the world without losing one's soul. They demonstrate that true wealth lies in inner peace, in connection with the divine, and that the material world, when used wisely, can be a platform for serving, loving, and transforming. Thus, the chosen one walks with one foot in two worlds. They look to the sky but keep their hands working on the earth. They listen to the call of eternity but live in the present, honoring each moment as a sacred gift. Their balance is not a choice between two paths but a harmonious fusion of both, where spiritual and material life become one. The chosen one becomes, then, a complete being, full in their humanity and divinity, walking firmly toward the purpose they were called to. As the chosen one advances in their journey, they begin to realize that their path is not just about their own enlightenment and growth. Their mission, in essence, goes beyond themselves. They understand that their awakening makes them a light for others, a beacon that must guide those still trapped in the darkness of ignorance and fear. The chosen one, by their very nature, is called to be a mentor, a guide, not out of vanity or desire for leadership, but because they understand that true wisdom only flourishes when shared. In this role, the chosen one does not impose their vision. They simply illuminate the way. Just as Socrates used meutics to guide his disciples toward self-knowledge, the chosen one does not offer ready-made answers but helps others discover the truth for themselves. They understand that every being has their own pace, their own path to follow, and their task is merely to ignite the inner flame of each person so that they may find the light that already exists within them. Their leadership is silent, almost imperceptible, yet profoundly transformative. The chosen one understands that, to be an effective guide, they need to be a living example of the principles they teach. Their life must reflect the wisdom they have acquired, not only in words but in actions. Like Buddha, whose silent presence inspired peace and clarity in all who surrounded him, the chosen one knows that true spiritual leadership is not in eloquent speeches but in the serenity of their spirit and the authenticity of their actions. They lead by who they are, not by what they claim to be. This responsibility is profound. The chosen one knows that the eyes of the world are upon them, that their conduct is observed and often imitated. They feel the weight of this responsibility, not as a burden but as a sacred honor. They recognize that the purpose of their journey is to serve and that, by helping others awaken, they too are transformed. Every soul they guide is a reflection of their own journey, a mirror that reminds them that enlightenment is not a final point but a continuous cycle of growth, sharing, and expansion. By assuming the role of mentor, the chosen one approaches those who are lost, not with judgment but with compassion. They remember that, at some point in their own journey, they too were lost, seeking answers in the chaos. They offer their hand not as a superior master but as a fellow traveler. They recognize that, while they may be a little further along the path, they are still a traveler, learning and growing alongside others. This humility is what makes them an authentic and trustworthy guide. There are moments when the chosen one encounters resistance. Some are not ready for what they offer. Others may react with hostility, still trapped by the illusions of their ego. But the chosen one understands that it is not their role to force change in anyone. They plant seeds, knowing that time and circumstances will take care of the rest. Their patience is infinite, and they step aside when necessary, allowing each person to follow their own path without rush, without pressure. Moreover, the chosen one realizes that their task as a mentor is also a constant reminder of their own imperfection and need for growth. Every time they teach, they learn. Every time they guide, they are guided. They understand that the role of mentor is not a position of power but of service. By sharing their wisdom, they become a channel for universal truth, and by serving others, they serve the higher purpose that called them. Throughout history, great spiritual and philosophical masters have walked this same path. Jesus, who led with love and sacrifice, Buddha, who guided with silence and serenity, and Socrates, who questioned with wisdom and humility. The chosen one mirrors these examples, knowing that the role of mentor is not a choice but a natural consequence of awakening. Their light, once lit, cannot be contained. It must be shared, it must illuminate the darkest corners of collective consciousness. And so, the chosen one assumes their role as mentor and guide, not as someone seeking glory but as someone who understands the depth of their mission. They know that their greater purpose is not just to illuminate their own path but to help light the way for all who cross their journey. They become, thus, a point of reference, a symbol of hope and transformation for all those still searching for the path of truth. Even though the chosen one's journey is often solitary, there comes a moment when they begin to realize that they are not, nor have they ever truly been, alone. As singular as their experience may seem, there are others who share a similar mission, other awakened souls who, like them, have heard the call and set out on the path of truth. And it is in this meeting, this union of purpose and hearts, that the chosen one finds the strength of spiritual communion. The chosen one understands that isolation is only a stage of their journey, a necessary phase for self-knowledge and purification, but it is not the final destination. Just as a stream runs alone until it finds the river, the chosen one, at some point in their walk, meets other soul travelers. This meeting is not the result of chance but of divine synchronicity, where like-minded souls are drawn together, connected by an invisible thread that intertwines their destinies. This community is not a formal organization nor a group identified by names or titles. It is a silent brotherhood, where each chosen one recognizes the other by a light that emanates from the heart, by a deep wisdom that transcends words. They do not need many speeches to understand each other, for they share the same essence, the same truth, even if expressed in different forms. Like the ancient Greek mystery schools or the Buddhist Sangha, this community is a spiritual alliance, a space where awakening is nurtured and protected. In meeting others, the chosen one experiences a new dimension of their mission. They realize that the individual journey is essential, but there is incomparable strength when chosen ones unite in purpose. Alone, they may illuminate a small part of the path, but together, they can ignite a flame that lights up vast regions of human consciousness. This unity is more than the sum of its parts. It is an expression of the universal power flowing through each of them, intensified by communion. However, this community is not an escape from individual responsibility. Each chosen one knows that even in a group, they must continue cultivating their own inner path. Union with others does not exempt them from their personal tasks. On the contrary, it reminds them of the importance of their own growth, for each member of the community is like a piece of a great cosmic puzzle. The more they evolve, the more they strengthen the whole, and the more the whole evolves, the more they are inspired to continue their journey. There is a continuous exchange of wisdom and energy within this community. Each chosen one brings their own experiences, their own truths, and together they build a broader and richer vision of reality. One learns from the other, and each encounter is an opportunity for expansion, where individual truths intertwine to form a greater truth. And by sharing their experiences, they strengthen each other, creating an energetic field that protects and sustains each one's mission. This community, however, is not fixed. It is fluid, dynamic, made up of souls that come and go as their individual paths lead them. Sometimes, the chosen one finds themselves surrounded by many. At other times, they may walk alone for long periods. But they know that, regardless of where they are, the spiritual community to which they belong is eternal. It is not limited by physical space or time, for it is a deep connection that transcends the limitations of the material world. In finding their community, the chosen one feels deep relief. They understand that, although their journey is personal, they are part of something much greater. And this gives them the strength to continue, knowing that even in the darkest hours, there are others who share their light, who walk beside them, even if invisibly. They connect with the certainty that awakening is not an isolated event but part of a larger movement, a cosmic process of transformation that involves many. This sense of belonging, of being aligned with others who share their vision, renews their faith in the mission. They understand that their task, no matter how arduous it may seem, is part of a collective effort to elevate humanity's consciousness. And by joining other chosen ones, they realize that together, they can achieve things that would be impossible to accomplish individually. Communion with other chosen ones is a reminder that the strength of the journey lies in unity. Each one is an indispensable piece in the great cosmic puzzle, and together they form the complete picture of the divine purpose. It is in union with others that the chosen one finds not only strength but also consolation, inspiration, and above all, the certainty that the light they carry is part of a much greater light that shines through all. Loneliness is a constant shadow in the journey of the chosen one. While the world around them sleeps, they awaken. While most follow the safe and predictable path, they tread an uncertain route, often without company. The feeling of being misunderstood, of walking against the flow, can be overwhelming. The chosen one finds themselves in many moments separated from others, carrying a burden that seems to be theirs alone. However, there is a deeper truth they still need to discover. A chosen one is never truly alone. Loneliness, though painful, is a necessary teacher. It is in solitude that the chosen one begins to hear more clearly the voice of the divine, that subtle presence that has always been by their side but that, in the distractions of the world, they could not perceive. Loneliness invites them to enter the silence of their soul, where a deep and eternal connection with the universe resides. They begin to realize that their separation is an illusion created by the senses, by the mind that identifies with what is tangible and visible. But at the core of their being, they are connected to something infinitely greater, an invisible web that unites all things. It is in this stillness that they discover the presence of something or someone who accompanies them every step of the way. Whether in the form of spiritual guides, angels, or the very voice of universal wisdom, the chosen one begins to realize that, even when their physical eyes cannot see, they are never abandoned. There is always a presence, a subtle energy that sustains, surrounds, and guides them. As Rumi's words resonate, "You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean in a drop." The chosen one begins to understand that, in fact, they carry within them the vastness of the universe, and in that vastness, there is no loneliness, only fullness. The journey of the chosen one, often solitary on the physical plane, is a journey inward, an exploration of the depths of their soul, where they find the eternal companionship of the divine. Saint Augustine, in speaking of the divine presence, wrote that God is closer to us than we are to ourselves. The chosen one experiences this directly, realizing that the source of all companionship, of all comfort, resides in their own essence. They begin to feel that even in the darkest hours, even when everyone seems to have distanced themselves, they are enveloped by this constant presence, an invisible embrace that never abandons them. Loneliness, then, ceases to be a burden and becomes a doorway to transcendence. The chosen one learns to value these moments of isolation, knowing that it is through them that they reconnect with their purest essence, with the spirit that chose them. They realize that true loneliness is not physical but spiritual, and that as long as they are in communion with the divine, with the universe, they are never alone. Physical loneliness becomes a mirror reflecting their connection with the all, and the more they dive into this sacred space, the stronger and more autonomous they become. However, the Chosen One also understands that loneliness is part of the growth process, that it strengthens them to fulfill their mission. Every step taken in silence brings them closer to their truth, to their purpose. They realize that those who were called to great missions always walked solitary roads. Moses in the desert, Jesus on the mountain, Buddha under the tree, all at some point faced loneliness before emerging as beacons of light for the world. The Chosen One recognizes that this loneliness is not a punishment but a preparation, a refinement of their soul. Eventually, they begin to realize that, even in interactions with others, there is a solitude that remains. This solitude, however, is no longer painful but serene. They have learned to live with it, to find in it a peace that the external world cannot offer. They become one with their own presence, and in this unity they discover freedom. They no longer need to seek validation outside or feel disconnected for not being understood. They know they are always in the company of what is eternal and unchanging. And ironically, it is in this state of acceptance of loneliness that the Chosen One realizes they were never truly alone. Loneliness, like a veil, dissolves to reveal the constant presence of the divine, of other chosen ones, and of life in its purest form. They feel part of a greater current, of an invisible communion that spans the past, present, and future. They are connected to the network of all those who are awakened, of all those who have walked this path before them and who walk beside them, even if they cannot see them. Thus, loneliness is transformed. The Chosen One, who once felt the weight of isolation, now sees their journey as a solitary dance yet full of companionship. They always remember that they are united to something greater and that their light, even when it seems to shine alone, is part of an infinite constellation. And this certainty drives them forward with confidence, knowing that in every step the universe walks with them. The journey of the Chosen One never reaches an endpoint, never arrives at a definitive conclusion. Every step taken, every challenge overcome reveals a new stage, a new level of understanding, and with it, new responsibilities arise. The Chosen One understands that life is a constant cycle of growth and transformation, where every end is only a new beginning, and every victory brings new horizons to explore. The mission continues because the process of evolution is eternal. The Chosen One, who at the beginning of their journey sought only answers for themselves, realizes that their mission has expanded. Now, they understand that they are here not just for their own enlightenment but to be a force for change in the world. They feel the call to continue lighting the path for others, to continue being a presence of light and wisdom in a world that often remains immersed in shadows. Their purpose, then, aligns with the natural cycle of existence, where evolution is infinite, and service to others becomes the very essence of their mission. This understanding frees them from the bonds of the ego and the illusion of a final destination. As in Nietzsche's concept of eternal recurrence, the Chosen One realizes that time is cyclical and that life repeatedly offers new opportunities for growth and new beginnings. Every action they take, every choice they make reverberates through the universe, returning to them in unexpected ways, calling them to a continuous cycle of self-improvement and self-transcendence. The mission never exhausts itself, never concludes definitively, for the universe is in constant motion, and so too must be the soul of the Chosen One. Just as Eastern traditions teach the karmic cycle and the concept of rebirth, the Chosen One understands that the spiritual journey is marked by a succession of inner deaths and rebirths. With each challenge, a part of their being that no longer serves their purpose dissolves, making way for a new version of themselves. And with each rebirth, their mission becomes clearer, more urgent, and broader. They realize that difficulties and obstacles are disguised opportunities to expand their consciousness and serve more deeply. However, the continuity of the mission is not a burden. The Chosen One does not see it as a heavy responsibility but as a sacred dance with the universe itself. They understand that the mission of illuminating the world around them is, in fact, a way to illuminate themselves even more. By offering their light to others, they become more luminous. By guiding, they become more guided. And thus, they advance with the humility of knowing that the path is infinite but with the courage of someone who has accepted this reality as part of their own nature. The mission continues because darkness is never completely defeated. The Chosen One knows that the world will always need light, will always need awakened souls willing to guide, teach, and heal. They understand that even after great accomplishments, there is still much to be done. Every new generation, every new era brings new challenges, new forms of illusion, new barriers to truth. And they, as guardians of the light, are always ready to face these challenges, knowing that every battle won is just a prelude to the next. This eternity of the mission is what gives the Chosen One the peace necessary to continue. They no longer seek immediate results or definitive achievements. They know their task is to plant seeds, many of which they will never see bloom. But they also know that, just as they have reaped the fruits of seeds planted by those who came before them, future generations will reap what they have left as a legacy. This is the beauty of the mission. It transcends the individual, transcending time and space, creating an unbroken chain of light and truth that extends into the future. The mission also continues within themselves. The Chosen One realizes that even with all their wisdom, they never stop learning. Each day brings new insights, new revelations, new aspects of themselves that they must explore and understand. They see that the process of self-knowledge is infinite, just like the universe in which they dwell. They no longer worry about the idea of perfection, for they understand that true perfection lies in constant evolution, in the continuous pursuit of becoming a purer version of themselves. By accepting this reality, the Chosen One finds a deep sense of peace and purpose. They no longer fear the unknown, for they know that in every new phase of the journey, there is an opportunity for growth. They embrace the uncertainty of the path with confidence, knowing that the universe in its infinite wisdom will always guide them where they need to be. And so, the mission continues, not as an obligation but as a privilege, a gift, an expression of the love they feel for the world and everything that exists. And so, the Chosen One moves forward with a light heart and an awakened soul, knowing that their mission has no end and that, with each step, they are not only changing the world but also changing themselves. The path ahead stretches infinitely, but they walk with the certainty that, with each step, they are fulfilling the purpose for which they were chosen. The mission continues and they, with courage and love, continue with it. The path of the Chosen One is infinite, and the spiritual journey is an adventure that continues, always calling those who feel the awakening in their hearts. But this journey does not have to be walked alone. Just as the Chosen One found their mission and discovered a community of awakened souls, you too are being called. If you feel this resonance, this desire to go beyond what the material world offers, know that you are part of something much greater. There is a light that shines within you, and your mission is to let it illuminate the world around you. Life is full of distractions, full of voices trying to pull us away from our inner truth. But just like the Chosen One, you can learn to listen to that soft voice, that sacred melody that echoes within your soul. It guides you silently toward a life of purpose and meaning. We are all called to awaken, to recognize the connection we have with the divine, with the universe, and with our spiritual brothers and sisters. If you are looking for a way to connect with your mission, to find your truth, and join the community of Chosen Ones, this is your moment. Don't ignore the call. The world needs your light, your vision, your wisdom. Each of us has a unique role to play in the elevation of consciousness, and your presence is vital for this collective purpose to be realized. You are part of something grand, of a cosmic dance that cannot be completed without your participation. So, follow your intuition, follow that inner force that moves you toward the unknown but that also brings with it a sense of belonging and truth. There is no need to have all the answers now because the journey is about the process, about each step we take toward the light. Trust in your path, and know that as you walk this road, you will find other Chosen Ones like you, awakened souls walking by your side. If you felt the truth in these words, if something inside you woke up or was ignited, join this community. Don't walk alone, for together we are stronger, and our light shines more intensely when united. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and keep following content that supports your spiritual journey. Here we share knowledge, inspirations, and wisdom so that we can all walk this path of awakening and evolution. Remember, your mission is important. The light you carry is unique, and the world needs you. Continue your journey, follow the call of your heart, and know that even when the road seems difficult, you are never truly alone. There is a community waiting for you, and together we can light up the world.